Hello everyone and welcome back to J1 Aviation. So today we're talking about scanning techniques outside the aircraft. Also, we have an interesting blind spot test if you haven't seen it before. So scanning is a method of looking out the window and following some pattern where you can scan for traffic. But it seems many people these days are flying around with iPads with traffic on them. So that kind of removes the need for scanning, right? Well, of course not. So there's many reasons why you still want to scan. So first of all is not all traffic is going to show up on your iPad for various reasons. But secondly, it's not just aircraft, but I mean proper scanning can keep you away from birds, lighted towers. There are a number of things which also can occupy airspace. Effective scanning is generally accomplished with a series of short, regularly spaced eye movements that bring like consecutive areas of the sky into your vision. And each movement should not exceed 10 degrees and should be observed for at least 1 second to let you pick up on movement detection. Now, although this back and forth scanning process works for most pilots, you should find something which works for you and is comfortable so you'll stick with it. So in addition to just scanning left and right, you want to work in distance as well. So you can begin your scan at some point in the far left, for example, and work your way across to the right at that distance, and then bring your focus a little closer, and then work your way back again to the left. And this allows you to effectively scan for all depths and angles in front of your aircraft. Now, another reason scanning is important is because you have a blind spot. So in your eyes, there are rods and cones which help you see. However, in the back of your eye is the optic nerve. So where that nerve enters your eye, there are no rods and cones there, of course, so that's how the blind spot's generated. So under normal conditions, this isn't so much of a big concern because a particular point cannot be in the blind spot for both eyes at the same time. However, if your vision is blocked in one eye for some reason, like a windshield divider or some other part of the aircraft, then that does leave a part of your field of view in a blind spot. So there is an interesting test, which I have as the thumbnail of this video, so you can see your own blind spot. So here is the picture, and I'll tell you then how to do the test. So I'll talk you through it, and you might need to pause the video to do it accurately. So what you want to do is hold your phone at arm's length, or be about an arm's length away from a desktop monitor if that's how you're viewing the video. And then cover your left eye. So with your right eye, then stare directly at the plane on the left side. So in your periphery, you will notice the black X on the right side of the picture. And then slowly move the phone closer to you while continuing to stare at that airplane. Or you could move your head or body closer to the desktop monitor if you're watching this at a desktop while continuing to stare at the airplane. And then when you are about 18 inches away, the black X should disappear completely because it is now in line with your blind spot for your right eye. And then if you move the phone closer, it will come back into view. You can move the phone forward and backwards to kind of gauge the extent of your blind spot. Then you can repeat this test, this time covering your right eye and staring at the black X. So moving the phone closer will then make the airplane disappear. So this is quite an interesting test because it shows the vulnerability of our blind spots. And this is one of the reasons why effective scanning is important. And if you have passengers, have them look out the window for traffic as well. And remember, during VFR flying, you want to be looking outside about 75% of the time. Don't have your head down being fascinated by your favorite flight following app or focusing on your altimeter all the time to try to hold precisely exactly what altitude you're trying to maintain. Keep looking outside for visual references for that. And then also at the same time, you can be scanning for traffic. Now, there are a few other things to talk about when scanning at night if you're doing night flying. So first is preparation. The rods in your eyes can take about 30 minutes to fully adapt to darkness. So you want to avoid bright lights at least 30 minutes before night flight. And ideally, when doing a pre-flight, use a red light or something that's not as bright, so it'll help your eyes adjust to darkness and then give you the best vision. The scanning in flight itself is also a bit different, and it's what is used as off-center viewing. So it's a technique that requires looking just to the left, right, above, or below an object. So at night, the eyes are most effective at observing an object which is just in your peripheral vision. So maybe 10 degrees to some side of it. But then don't stare at it too long, 2 to 3 seconds max, or the object will tend to disappear because of some response in the rods of your eye. So there we go. It's a bit of information about scanning. So let's look at some potential questions on the private pilot knowledge test. So question number 1, which technique should a pilot use to scan for traffic to the right and left during straight and level flight? And this question is talking about daylight. Concentrate on relative movement detected in the peripheral vision area, systematically focus on different segments of the sky for short intervals, or continuously sweeping of the windshield from right to left. So B, systematically focus on different segments of the sky for short intervals. So since our eyes can only focus on a narrow viewing area, effective scanning is accomplished by a series of short, regularly spaced eye movements that can bring consecutive areas into view. So the next one, what preparation should a pilot make to adapt the eyes for night flying? Wear sunglasses after sunset until ready for flight. Avoid bright white lights at least 30 minutes before flight, or avoid red lights at least 30 minutes before flight. So B, remember the eyes need about 30 minutes to adapt to darkness. So to do this, we must avoid bright white light for at least 30 minutes prior to night flight. So answer A is a little bit sketchy. So wear sunglasses after sunset until ready for flight. So potentially, wearing sunglasses during the day if you're preparing for a night flight, might help your eyes adjust because it's dimmer. But that's not really the answer that this question's looking for. It's avoid bright white lights for at least 30 minutes prior to flying. And then the last one, the best method to use when looking for other traffic at night is to scan the visual field very rapidly, look to the left side of the object and scan rapidly, look to the side of the object and scan slowly. So C, remember the eyes are most effective at night when viewing off-center objects. Because of this, pilots should scan slowly and allow for off-center viewing. So there you go, everyone, a bit of information on scanning techniques, and I hope that blind spot test worked for you on whatever device you're watching this on. So thanks everyone for riding along today. We'll hope you join us on a future flight, and thanks for flying J1 Aviation.